Hello students, Mr. Bastias here. Welcome to Unit 5, Week 3, Day 1. Make sure to have your Meaningmapper, article a day, your book of knowledge, and paper and pencil to write with. Today we will learn about natural changes to the environment and the habitats of living things. Our focus word this week is ecosystem. Can you say ecosystem? Sounds great. How many syllables are in the word ecosystem? Ecosystem. That's right. 4 syllables. Say all the sounds you hear in the word. Repeat after me. E, K, O, S, E, S, T, E, M. Ecosystem. Does this word sound like a word in another language? It sounds like ecosistema in Spanish, which means ecosystem. It's a cognate. Please take out your Meaningmapper. In the middle of our Meaningmapper, we have our focus word, ecosystem. An ecosystem is the community of plants and animals that all live in the same environment and survive because of each other. What words does this word make you think of or remind you of? Add that to your Meaningmapper. I added the word community, because an ecosystem is a community of plants and animals that all live together and survive because of each other. Let's start with our article a day. Natural changes to the environment. Look at the picture. What do you see? I see that there are 3 pictures taken from the same spot but at different times. The first one was taken in 1997 and it looks very green. Then in 2003, we see the same area but it looks like it was burned. 9 years later, in 2012, we see some green start to emerge again. Let's get started with our article a day. Ecosystems can be fragile. Hey, that's our focus word. Let's remember, an ecosystem is the community of plants and animals that all live in the same environment and survive because of each other. In Spanish, we say ecosistema. We have many different types of ecosystems. We have water ecosystems, desert ecosystems, forest ecosystems. They all have different plants and animals that survive because of each other. Sometimes the ecosystem can recover from a change. Sometimes the change is forever. Erosion is one common force of nature. Force is strength, power, or energy. Force makes things move or makes things go. In Spanish, we say fuerza, energía, vigor, and enjundia. Over time, the land on either side of a stream can erode. If water in a river hits against soft rock, the water will erode the rock little by little. That means bits of the rock will be washed away by the force of the water. In Spanish, we say erosionar, corroer, desgastar. Look at this little image. This shows erosion. In the first image, we have a cliff. Then we see how the water starts to erode that cliff. After a long time of the water hitting under that cliff, it creates a hole. And then after even longer, eventually, it just becomes 2 separate pieces. I imagine this part will eventually wash away entirely. Let's continue. When it rains really hard, a little stream can fill with water and flood. A flood may last for an hour. It may last for a few days. This is a flood. It happens when it rains too much and a stream forms. The plants on a hillside have roots that reach deep into the soil. These plants, we can't see the roots because the roots are under the ground, but they go under the soil. The plant's roots hold the soil together. When it rains or when the wind blows really hard, the plant's roots hold the soil in place. Without plants, the soil starts to erode. Here, there are no plants, so the soil is eroding. Water is one of nature's most powerful forces. During a big flood, the entire landscape can be changed. A flooded river can tear apart plants, trees, and soil. Look at this picture of a flood. Let's see what the caption says. Water is one of nature's most powerful forces. And as the article mentions, water can tear apart plants, trees, and even soil. First, the topsoil is removed. This is the richest soil, where you find most of the nutrients and decaying matter. Once the topsoil is washed away, the forces of nature slowly eat away at the clay and rock underneath. So a flood can cause a lot of damage to a particular area. Please take out your book of knowledge. Write down 2 or 3 things you learned from the article and would like to remember. Pause the video and take a moment to do this now. I'm going back to my article a day to find evidence that I can write in my book of knowledge. The first thing I learned is that ecosystems can be fragile. Something like a flood can cause a lot of damage. I'm going to write that down. I learned that ecosystems can be fragile. I also learned that the land on either side of a stream can erode. I'm going to write that down as well. I learned that the land on either side of a stream can erode. This makes me think of wind erosion. Wind erosion is when the wind erodes the rock, as we can see in the picture here. Just like water can erode the land, wind can erode rock. This makes me think of wind erosion because the article talked about erosion. Wind erosion, because the article talked about erosion. Now please take out your Meaningmapper. In the middle, we have our focus word, ecosystem. An ecosystem is the community of plants and animals that all live in the same environment and survive because of each other. We already added the word community, but what other word could you add to your Meaningmapper? I added the word environment because an ecosystem is made up of the plants, animals, and the environment they live in. And that's it for me, students. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.